Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, so starting off here on the daily, as always, what's the daily showing us? Well, previous day, which was a Friday, typically closed out as just a doji. It was a bearish doji, right, where you can see we had swept sell side and buy side liquidity of that previous day and closed out just about bearish. So an indecisive candle. Now, if we look at all of the recent days price action, you can see it is quite clustered into this area. It does seem like it's slowly creeping up. We did take that major buy side liquidity from these August highs, right, which looked like it could possibly have started some sort of bearish move, maybe even if it's a short-term pullback. But price is refusing to really go lower by the looks of it, right? So we're just creating inside bars and we're moving slightly closer up now to what will be our previous weekly high. So not the greatest of price action, obviously, with the higher high just being made clearly, right? So maybe one to look into all this price action here on the lower time frame. But price is consolidating and sticking around in this area. And as we know, soon after that, usually the manipulation comes or the expansion, right? So usually we'll break out of a consolidation. So we're just waiting to see which direction that goes for. If I look at our inverse indicator, which is DXY here, we do look bearish, right? We have this lower high here and now a lower low around here, also below these previous lows. So it does look bearish. Obviously the daily candles have been playing out in a similar way. We did take sell side liquidity from these previous lows here, so it's something to be mindful of. However, so far today we are bearish on DXY, bullish on EU, with the previous daily highs and lows still intact for buy side and sell side liquidity. So it's the final day of the month. We'll see how price continues. All right, so I think that's enough for the daily. Let's go down to the 4 hour, see what that shows. Now, analyzing EU here on the 4 hour, we do still seem to be in a bullish trend, right? Because we have our high, low, high, 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 low. Now that would imply some weak highs here and we could go on to make a higher high, right? Because we initially failed and respected this order block here, but we pull back down, have taken sell side liquidity, and we've had somewhat of a bullish run. Now, obviously that's not confirmed yet, but we did respect these lows here. We haven't gone on to make a lower low, right? Which would have given us that indication of a possible bearish structure coming into the market. So the negatives we have there is from this high to this lower high, right? We have SMC divergence, okay? Because DXY made a low and lower low. Now what that would indicate is DXY has taken sell side liquidity as per this X here, and it could give it a bullish push, right? So it could indicate higher prices on DXY and lower prices on EU. However, we are yet to go and make any lower low, which would have indicated some bearish structure, right? So at the moment, the way I see it is, as we've respected this low, we have possible weak high scenarios going on here. I would have liked for it to have been clearer and we just went on to create a higher high, but sometimes you get these complex moves here. We've swept sell side liquidity, okay? And then we went on to break this internal high. So on the hourly, right, when we see it, this will look like higher high structures. DXY obviously did make a lower low, just didn't close below that. So we'll see how that goes, but from just this price action structure analysis, I do still see it as bullish. We're waiting to see what happens around here, obviously with our SMC divergence as well, to see if that's going to create any bearish order flow, though that may have just indicated this candle here, right? So I hope that was clear. Don't want that to confuse anybody. Just the structure is bullish. Okay, and there's a little bit more of a complex structure here, which we'll see a bit more closely on the 1 hour, which may clear things up. So bias is leaning more towards bullish, right? So just take that in. After taking this buy side, this major buy side liquidity, we didn't go on to make lower lows. Let's go down to the 1 hour, see what that looks like. Right, so here we are on the 1 hour. This may help with that more complex structure involved on the 4 hour. It's a bit more clearer here on the 1 hour, right? So we have our external leg there. We took that buy side liquidity, right? We pulled back, took some internal sell side liquidity, made this leg here, which initially looked like it was going to fail and respect this 1 hour order block, right? So I was expecting weak lows, lower lows. Instead, we just swept some more internal sell side liquidity, and then now we've got a new internal bullish leg. Okay, so this high here, which respected this order block, failed to go on and make bearish structure. It swept some sell side liquidity, and we got new bullish structure. It's still internal to this bullish structure, but we can still read this leg and use this leg here as our new bullish leg, right? Discount premium. So what we did here, we came above, created a new high, pulled back to a discount, mitigated this imbalance POI here, right? And then price looks to have respected that, and it could be that high low, which makes this high here weak. So now we're heading for possibly that buy side liquidity target of the previous daily high. So that SMC here and this order block doesn't look to be influencing that we're going to have bearish price action at the moment, because we failed to go on and make a lower low. We just mitigated this and held price, and now we look to be bullish, right? And then if we look at our inverse DXY, it's a lot more clearer. We have a clear 1 hour bearish leg which closed below the previous lows from this high to this low here. Okay, we pulled back somewhat to this equilibrium here. Would have looked better if we pulled back and closed up this imbalance and into this order block as well, maybe, but we've got what we've got, right? Lower high, then go on to a possible lower low at this previous daily low. You can see we've got bullish momentum and some bearish momentum taking out these lows at the moment. So I think my bias is definitely leaning towards that bullish side, and we'll see what the lower time frame gives us. We can see we've taken some sell side liquidity here and gone bullish. So this is the week high buy side liquidity target in my opinion. So my bias therefore is bullish to target the previous daily high. So let's go down to the M15, see what opportunities would look like for today. So here we are, M15 execution timeframes. You can see this morning, right? Frankfurt opened up, swept below this Asia kill zone box, right? We've got our Asia here. We've swept below the lows of Asia, and now into London open, we've gone bullish. Okay, so you can see we've got a clear break of structure around these areas here, right? Clearly above all those other highs. Now, the only difference I'm seeing at the moment is DXY hasn't made that clear break of structure just yet, right? We would have expected possibly DXY to break structure and make that lower low there. Now, that would look good for us. That would look good for price action, though we did sweep clearly above some previous internal highs, right, for buy side liquidity before that bearish momentum. So we do have our internal sweep. Now, if we look at it, it looks like yesterday we respected this 15M order block, may have created equal highs though, or may have just swept it, and then price obviously closed out overnight into today. And I still believe this previous daily low to be a possible week low. Now we may run into some resistances here. We've got an M15 order block there. There may be some people trying to get in and sell it, and it may cause that pullback we need back into this area. Right, same thing here on DXY. There is the possibility of it being respected, but from our higher time frame analysis, right, we have our bullish leg, bearish leg, okay, and price has now swept internal liquidity, broken structure, okay, which is the basis of the strategy, right, indicating its willingness to go higher in price towards our week high. So that's how I am reading this price. Now, what would I like to see? M15 order block here, but I think it may look a bit more clear on the M5. So let's go down to the M5 and see what that looks like. So here on the M5, in terms of strategy, we have broken our structure. So we've got some internal sell side liquidity. More importantly, we have a bullish narrative. Okay, so our narrative is to head for these previous daily highs. We have our break of structure here on the M5, right around this area. We have an M5 order block left behind with imbalance, right? So you can see where we had this momentum into the market. We also took buy side liquidity down here on DXY before breaking down, and you could say our M5 shift and breaking structure happened around here. Now I would prefer obviously if it had taken out this low just like we did on the M15 and on here on EU. So what could we look for in terms of the strategy? Obviously what I would then like to see is some sort of corrective pullback, preferably down to our M5 order block to then go higher in price towards our previous daily high, possible week high. Okay, so we would have our order set at the order block, stop loss, just below the low somewhere here, targeting whatever your strategy targets. Mine is 3%, of course, so it'd be around this area here. Okay, so this would be our inducement, right, which is sell side liquidity to be mitigated and taken out just above our order block here, and we would be expecting price to respect these lows. We have a small internal sweep here as well, right, where we swept this internal low and broke above, so we could count that maybe as some internal sweep as well. So I hope that's clear. Let me go over these points again. We have our higher time frame narrative, which is bullish with a weak high up here. Lower time frame, we've taken some internal sell side liquidity, then again here as well before we had that break of structure above these lower time frame highs. Okay, a lot of momentum, order block with imbalances, and then I would expect a possible corrective pullback. Doesn't always have to be corrective, right, but leaving some sell side liquidity above our order block to then go long towards the highs again and towards our weak previous daily high. And we have the same with DXY agreeing with its bearish higher time frame structure, buy side liquidity taken, internal break of structure. Okay, and we have similar order block here. So I hope you gained value from that. I hope it was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.